Hey, what's up, Canada and beyond? It is Monday, June 27th, or June 24th. Sorry, forgive me. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to What's Up, Canada and Beyond. Wouldn't you know it, Murphy's Law, just 10 seconds as I'm hitting into the go live, my mouse decides to uh, have its last moment. So we're gonna kind of roll with it, anyways. Welcome back. It's another one of from the roots. So tonight's going to be kind of a little bit grassroots centric. So a little bit of stuff that you probably won't see anywhere else, may not hear anywhere else, unless you are plugged in and listening to ears to the ground, to the things that are communities, organizations that are doing their best to resist the incoming oppression and the Fourth Reich and all of those kinds of things. These are some of these are the discussions that enter the Overton window, right? So the idea behind this new Monday series is to kind of do a flyby overview of the subject matters that have been discussed over the past week, and bring you guys some of the Cole's notes of the victories within, in the fight for freedom. So we'll give you guys a lot of that. I'll be able to introduce you to some new creators, content creators, platforms, places where you guys can stay abreast of more of these kinds of things, mostly to just kind of clear the noise a little bit, trying to develop a little bit more familiarity as we shift away from the mercenary media platforms into an authentic alternative news source community, all of these digital things that are going on. So hello from Minnesota. Wow, that is awesome. Great. Thanks. Great for tuning in here. I'm not even going to start trying to fumble with names. I might do okay for one or two, but I'm guaranteed I will fumble it up at some point. I'm already a little bit frazzled. Hey, Toronto. Welcome back, Gemini and Python from Woodsley, Ontario. Guys, we really depend now more than ever on a couple of things. One of the big differences between the future moving forward and where we're at now, and one of the reasons why I launched this platform, was understanding the difference in the evolution of communication, news, broadcasting, those kinds of things, right? We most of us. I may date myself with this, but you remember this song, video killed the radio star. Well, it's kind of goes that way with media too, where radio kind of killed print, and TV kind of killed radio, and now we're in a day and age where we're killing TV. They are no longer media; they are mercenaries hired to objectively target and influence the population counterintuitively against the truth. So they're really hired to do a dirty job, which makes them mercenaries, in my book. And by definition. So this is what we're trying to reestablish an understanding that in the next evolution of media, it won't be one way broadcasting. Radio is one way. You can't communicate with the program that you're listening to. Print, it takes a long time to respond and hopefully get a response back. Television, same thing. You can't communicate in any way, shape, or form with the person that is delivering you the so-called news, truth, and media. So this is the evolution moving forward that they will never grasp. They turn off their comments, all of those things, and that is, a dinosaur, writhing its last gasps, dependent on the fascist state to survive, and we're just not taking part anymore. So hello from St. Catharines. Awesome, awesome. Hey, Stacy. Hello from me, Edmonton. Awesome, good stuff, guys. So tonight's show might going to be a little bit shorter. We're going to start with some wins. It's actually a kind of a project that came about through the Freedom Rising community, where they started to gather wins of the week. As they're hearing from hundreds of different people that are doing different things across this country and in anywhere in the free world. It's very, very open, very, very international connectivity and uh, communication. So these groups get firsthand. Oftentimes, the first time somebody hears about something going on in Canada, it's through these organizations and groups. So I'm going to start with some wins of the week as they're presented on Dr. Trotsy's website, Substack, actually. And like always, guys, everything is going to be included in the Substack that will come out tomorrow morning. All of the links, all of the videos, anything that we've talked about or referenced in the show will be out next the next day in Substack form, where you guys can get everything and dig deeper. And I'm always looking for your feedback. um, I'm trying to make this the least amount of work for myself as possible, to be honest with you. So instead of being out there grasping at straws, the feedback is important. Right from is the new format working for you? Is there a better time slot that I could be doing this in? I don't want to overlap and create frustration in the media space. So I've been developing this 6 p.m. Central time slot with a little bit of a theme given to each day. And I'd really like your guys' feedback back on all of that. And then again, the part of the other system is on the following day after the show, delivering everything to you guys in Substack form, so you guys can get plugged directly into those. So we're going to start with wins of the week with Ted Kuntz, episode 26. So this has been going on for a long while, and I kind of just decided to bring this into a Monday show every week and give you guys kind of a feel and flair for what's going on in the rest of the country, and what people are looking at, what's making sense, what can we shed better attention to, that kind of stuff, right? So this week, some of the highlights, and this is going to be awkward for me not having a mouse to do this, to scroll through. So it's been a great week of truth in the freedom movement. Major advances have been made to end tyranny, restore human rights, resurrect basic social morals, free the oppressed, and protect our children. Absolutely, has been some huge, huge victories, and I think it's important to give everybody a bit of a lift before we head into some of the darker stuff. Before we finish it off with something absolutely amazing before we end off the show here tonight. So stick with me, guys. Please share if you're it's not your first time here. You're familiar with the routine. We depend on the shares. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and find the bit the thumb or the heart or whatever it is that allows you to share at least that basic opinion with the world. That's what helps us move up a little bit. And boy, do we have a long ways to move up. But so some of the highlights: Ohio introduced a bill to end forced injections. It's a good start. It's one. These kinds of things are the things that we can use to template and fight back. This is something that we're fighting both sides of the border. So when these things happen, we have to look at them and see how can we take advantage of this tool or this victory and make it our own. The Alberta Prosperity Project laid a foundation for the Alberta government to warn and protect citizens from deception and uninformed injections with mRNA, something sorely needed. Yeah, our government up here in Canada, folks, is sorely a long ways from discovering the reality and the truth of what's going on here. I do not believe that it is accidental or just poor management of the Liberal management team of Canada, but at any rate, This is still here in Canada, front and center, that people need protection from because there is far more diabolical things coming, and Mr. Trudeau loves it. And so, yeah, good idea for this project. Something else that people can adopt and build around in their community. And you guys have heard me talk about this. Some of these things, the reason I like them is either things that will make a difference not just in 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 days, but 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. That's where I want to focus my energy. Instead of just going out for 2 minutes of hate on a Saturday afternoon, and wearing all of the labels that come with those emotional outbursts, that's not nearly as effective as getting involved in things that you can adapt, improvise in order to overcome. So more of that. Louisiana enacted a law to restore basic social morals. Interesting. I haven't looked into that, but I've heard about it. Randy Hillier made brilliant statements in court defending Canadian truckers, the Freedom Convoy, and himself. I got a chance to spend an overnight with Randy Hillier out at his lodge. Have some of the most amazing discussions, and at some point we'll get that published. We never did get that interview published, but the man has such an in-depth understanding of the law, the practical reality of the law, and the limitations of it here in Canada. I mean, the decades of him fighting in that system, and being extremely motivated and very intelligent. And he may not come across that way all the time. He may come across as the Columbo, you know, kind of old school guy. Well, he's absolutely old school, and make no mistake, he knows what he's talking about. And it's interesting to see him having such victories in the courts, and by nature of his personality, picking it, putting the weight of the convoy and the truckers on his back as well, because that is all he knows. That is how that man is hardwired, like him or not. That is the way he is hardwired for Canadians and to fight. Even though he's been ejected from the system, he understands that what he is fighting for and the magnitude of it. So awesome stuff. He's got some stuff going on too. I suggest tracking him down, and if you want to, he reminds me of Rex Murphy in the way he delivers a story with the point he's trying to deliver. So fantastic stuff from him. I got to pull this up. Awesome stuff. Catastrophic, catastrophic. Home of the Oilers, Edmonton in the house. I got a special treat for you guys at the end of the show. So, uh, we'll let you out of here on a really high note. So, but back to Randy Hillier. So, Swedish mainstream media reported about COVID vaccine deaths and manslaughter. It's making its way, so they are forced to address it. And again, the point I wanted to make between comparing this and to earlier is Canada is still a long ways dragging their heels on addressing the practical reality and the truth. So, the National Post published about the suppression of science and a film called COVID Collateral, which is critical of the COVID agenda. This is one of those things that Canadians and others have gotten behind, and we're pushing the cart on that. You guys are pushing the cart on that. We had the producers on the show here a while back. This is how we make it happen. This is the new media, the new community, and authentic media working in action that is forcing these kinds of things out from under the carpet and into the national realm of discussion. So good on you with that, National Post. Retired Canadian Attorney General and Minister of Finance Suzanne Anton expressed support for the public power to stop corrupt governments and take back control. Got a little clip on some of the failings, and points of that need to have focus when it comes to exactly that discussion, guys. So, where the Kansas Attorney General launched a lawsuit against Pfizer for lying and poisoning people. I could bring out the receipts on those that have taken the steps and bringing the receipts on and proving that this was actually a military action. Pfizer in the court case around that, but accountability is slow but coming. The wheels of justice move incredibly slow compared to the hyper accelerated, hyper vigilant, hyper paranoid state that we all live in, that's created by this media phenomenon that our cultures, our society, in fact, the world has never had to deal with this incessant 24-hour bombardment of information. And that leaves us basically incapable at times of deciphering and having the discernment to understand where we need to put our attention, what's real, what isn't. And this is that smoke. This is battlefield smoke. That's the smoke and mirrors, and that's what we're trying to clear. So, giving folks, people, the points to, the little lights in the smoke to pay attention to. So, the new Andy Wakefield film was released that exposes corruption at Merck Pharmaceuticals. This is going to get awful trendy, guys. There's going to be an awful lot of this. In fact, um, I was looking at getting back into the Saturday night watch party things, and the list of these kind of evidence-based documentaries, there's more than 100 of them. I'm not even sure where to start on doing that. So doing a project like that. So something I think that obviously there's a lot of material there that I can deliver you guys in documentary format. So look forward to that coming up again soon. And this is another question I want. This I'm only going to do this if I hear from enough of you guys out there. So um if you have to tell people to, subscribe this and or send people this video, tell them, let me know if they want to do it, have them drop a comment. But I am thinking about doing a live stream watch party on the what's going to be the comedic event of the year, I believe, the Biden Trump debate in the US this coming Thursday. So if you guys want to hang out in a giant watch party, I'm only going to do this. If you guys want to do this, grab your favorite beverages and bring a bunch of friends. That's the only way I'll do this, but I'm actually considering it. I had a request and a suggestion. So if this sounds like something that you'll be interested in taking part in, having fun with, let me know. Reach out to me. Make sure give me a message. Tell me to uh, watch party the debate. Let's do it, and we'll make it happen, right? So the where are we here? The Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board in Ontario voted no by 7-3 against pride flags on school property. Guys, this is starting to snowball. People are coming together and delivering the proper language, the proper way to address respectfully the problems and the solution, and reminding these people that implement these pseudo policies at the municipal levels that they are interchangeable, and if they continue with this degradation of our society, they will be replaced. And you have got enough of a voting base to do this, guys. This is happening as communities are getting together. This is happening a lot, a lot, a lot. So, um, awesome. Getting a couple of comments here. Excellent. I'm in Wayne Trump 2024. I'm not taking a political side on this, but I will be the host and mediator and color commentator and probably peanut gallery comedian if we want to do this. Faith and hope, absolutely. It's always better doing something like that as a group. Let's go Oilers. Hang on to that thought to the tail end of the show. Make sure you get subscribed. You guys are going to want to share this one to your favorite Oilers fans later on as well. So people are remembering that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends of freedom, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Now is the time. Going back to the Buckminster Fuller, you don't get anywhere by fighting within an existing corrupt system. You just build a new system and it will die and wither at the vine. And that was, kind of the spirit of Jake Jacobson last Wednesday. Um, and yeah, this is happening. It is happening, and I'm going to bring up some other people from outside of Canada that not tonight, but they're going to do something here. I'm not sure how to do it, but it's kind of because it's kind of a big one. But the rest of the world is starting to understand something that Canadians don't. The reality it is every one of our provinces does the vast majority of its trade directly with the United States. And then it just trickles down to foreign interests. And lastly, in most of our provincial cases, do we do interprovincial trade? Most of the trade between provinces is done at a consumer level and a tourist level. Beyond that, the federal government makes sure that it is incredibly difficult for interprovincial trade. And this is where they've got us by the short ones. And some provinces are starting to understand the nature of this, and how it gets that way is because of the jurisdiction and the fact that Canada it is a de facto country. It doesn't really actually exist beyond the illegal, unlawful realm right now. And people are figuring it out. And nations around the world are looking at how are they going to do business with 10 different countries instead of, this one pseudo country, right? Interesting stuff. So, Dr. Mackus, Dr. Hodkinson, and Dr. McCullough's suppressed study of 325 um, autopsies which confirmed deaths due to C19 genetic injections has overcome the obstruction of real science, quote unquote, past peer review, and will be published. Now, Dr. Mackus has not been on my program yet, but Dr. Hodgkinson and Dr. McCullough have, and we have been talking about this and supporting this study, this research, this evidence since 2021. And we have an amazing body of work with more than 50 Doctor Talks episodes that they won't let you see unless you go and look for it, basically on Rumble. And the World Council for Health called for a complete moratorium on childhood vaccines. So the fight is international. The pressure, the pushback is growing. The truth is being forced out of the swamp and into the daylight. So that's kind of some victories for everybody to grab a hold of, and know that there are people doing incredible things, even if you're not necessarily getting to know about it right away. And that's kind of why I wanted to start Mondays off with a little bit of a fun factor and an empowerment section for the show. So that was the wins of the week. We're going to get into some of the other concerns that we're facing across Canada and are being discussed about perhaps regionally, but they're part of the bigger, more complex problem, chaos, and the abuse of Canada. And we're going to start this little section off with why Brantford, Ontario vending machines are offering condoms, crackdowns, and naloxone, not whatever it is. Guys, Canada's moral fiber is lost. This is part of the safe supply agenda. We're sending crack kits, meth pipes, self-test HIV test kits. This is our health box. This is how our government looks at serving Canadians. And for all of our neighbors and cousins down south, uh, this is should show you guys the lie, the myth of the Green Acres, that Canada has such wonderful health care, and anybody that wants to escape the U.S. just run up to Canada, and there'll be sunshine, unicorns, and Green Acres up here in Canada. It doesn't exist, guys. And for Canadians, I'm going to bring up a little study here in just a moment, because I have to chase my mouse around all over the place. But um, Next up is a little side note and kind of a good news story. I haven't had a chance to really dig into the whether this is legitimate or not, but people are asking me all of the time, what can they do to fight against the effects of the chemical injections that they got? Is there anything? And to be honest with you, we are so early on into trying to understand. We can't even get them to accept that these things are doing damage. So there is not a lot of energy and effort, not what there could be, being put into how do we fix the people that were damaged by all of this. So when I come across something that looks like it might have some potential, I am not endorsing this doctor or this advice, but I'm a firm believer in we are what we eat, and that I've used through my own experience, my own journey, and my own story. Changing the what I consumed saved my life. So apparently, these two spices, turmeric and ginger, can repair DNA, fight cancer, and do a whole lot of other wonderful things for everybody. So that's kind of the end of the good news section. I wanted to throw that in for everybody before we get into some of. Oh, I guess there is another giant, huge congratulations for that. I guess I owe the purple flying unicorn, gay Muslim, now NDP leader of Alberta. I am truly afraid for Alberta with this, guys. This guy is the Rockefeller poster boy because he will gobble anything and get it done. And he absolutely destroyed Alberta through his policy and reign in Calgary. And now he has the opportunity to do far, far worse as the leader of the NDP, who has completely sold out lock, stock, and barrel to the union crime syndicates. So this is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous territory, guys. And he may have only just gotten into office, but if you think things were crazy before in Alberta, it is going to turn into a competition of crazy between this freak and Justin Trudeau and that cabal in Ottawa. So, next story. This one kind of concerned me. Was the ranking of doctor density around the world. And people know that we have, not just doctors being deregulated, to having their license taken for trying to actually be doctors. The sudden expiration of hundreds now doctors, and the fleeing of anybody who still is of sound mind, body, and ability, and still has their license and doesn't want to become a Dr. Mangala clone trooper. We're going to take a look here at where doctors in Canada rank, or where Canada ranks when it comes to doctors per population. So here we've got the top 10. I want to, I'm going to go through this until we get to Canada, and then let everybody think about that for a minute. Belgium, 63 doctors for every 10,000 people. That's pretty sweet. Georgia, 56. Georgia's that country that, is fighting to abandon the alphabet soup policies until you're 18 too, right? Interesting. Austria, 55%. Lithuania, Bulgaria, that would be what you would call, I guess, kind of the old stock, probably Orthodox Christian, Caucasian thing that the radical left hates the most. That kind of understands our culture and mindset. They're doing pretty good for doctors over there, anyways. Next is Uruguay, down South America. South America. Iceland. We talk about Iceland quite often. Apparently, doctors like Iceland. 45 doctors. Cabo Verde, Italy, Argentina. Interesting. Both countries that are kind of making, all countries that have either shifted right or are shifting right or in the process of. Okay, interesting. So we get to number 11, Paraguay. Sorry, whatever number 12 is, I'm not even going to try pronouncing that. My apologies. Israel, New Zealand. Ooh, there we're getting into lefty zoned. Chile, UK, Saudi Arabia, Barbados, Montenegro, Costa Rica has more doctors than Canada at 26.4 doctors per 10,000 people as of 2022. There we are. Canada, bada bing, 21 on the list for at 25 doctors per 10,000 people in Canada and dropping. So just so everybody can kind of put that into perspective, given that what those 25 doctors per 10,000 are up against if they're trying to practice medicine in Canada, that puts a scary perspective on things, if you ask me. So, um, something to think about and address and not to let fall through the cracks. These are some of the things we are into the political season, and I promise you, every meat muppet that is fancies having a public office seat is got their nose deeply into the wind to find out what you want to know, hear, and talk about. So do not let them off of the hook on this. And this comes back to the C-19 fraud that was perpetrated on this unsuspecting and innocent population, the greatest fraud in human history. And Canadians got hit pretty hard by it. And the fact that even the Conservative Party is trying to rectify the situation by bringing in foreign workers instead of reinstating all of those that were destroyed by the fraud of COVID. So very disturbing that, and we need to correct the course of that discussion before any of these meat muppets gets another seat. So um, I'm going to bring up this story just to kind of segue into the next one. About a month ago, I guess it was, we had David on Scripchaco. I again, forgive me for that, but who'd just spent 10 years trying to expose industry nationwide mortgage fraud and the law societies that were protecting them. Now, this week, there was a catastrophic event that happened um, in Toronto. And ultimately, this happened because of exactly what David tried to get us involved in the discussion on. He predicted these kinds of events would happen if this was not resolved. And as we see the economy continuing to tank, these kinds of things, this was a good dude that was pushed beyond the brink, and this is unfortunately where they are driving Canadians to enforce it faster than anybody has than any Canadians deserve to deal with. This is, as we can see by this case here in Toronto, far more rampant than any of the mercenary media is discussing and anybody in politics wants to address. Here's a couple: stealing millions, legal team and a real estate agent doing the same thing, um, stealing from home buyers, and the Law Society in Toronto, exactly as David described in Alberta. Guys, this is what's destroying our country because this is happening in every freaking province. And the politicians and the zoning regulators and the green agents, the 15-minute city people are the ones that are pushing the law societies to drag their heels on this. The government doesn't want to intervene because these guys are facilitating the crimes that they are perpetrating. And when it comes to, well, what's going to happen? Well, unfortunately, guys, I'm going to pull this up and we'll see what happens when the police are brought in anything.
are demanding the government release the names of parliamentarians cited in that unredacted version of the NSICOP report. How do you feel about the prospect of that happening?
Well, I'll let the government decide how they see best to do this, but I am concerned if we're starting to disclose secret or top secret information. Again, it could put in peril tradecraft partnership, especially international partnership. I'm one that I appreciate the fact that parliamentary privilege is something, and I just know about 5% of parliamentary privilege. But I think we have to be mindful how that information shared. I don't brief the Minister of Public Safety on every single that we have, because I think there's a need to know and then a right to know, right? And there comes a threshold that, yes, I'll bring the minister in and brief him on the file, but I don't brief him on every single file. And I think we just have to approach this very cautiously.
What is your understanding then if someone, if an MP got up inside the House of Commons under parliamentary privilege and decided to reveal this information? What's your understanding of what your role would be as Commissioner of the RCMP? You couldn't do anything, or you could do something?
Well, I'm inclined to say that would be a challenge for us. If it was out in the public domain, it'd be different because you're disclosing top secret information or secret information. Let's hope we don't have to cross that that road.
So the police won't do anything about spies, intervention, treason, because at the end of the day, they're all doing it. Every last party is guilty, and the majority of its members are profiting or taking advantage of or being kept in office by the lobbyists, NGOs, nonprofits, and the organizations that drive the buses behind the politicians. Every last one of them is driven by organizations that have ulterior motives in Canada, be it the ones that they're focusing on. This particular case, they're only talking in Parliament about China and India, and completely obscuring the fact of Bilderberg, Geneva, United Nations, WHO. These that are literally in the public space, stuffing their policies into Canada, and Trudeau and the Meat Muppets here are adopting them, putting them in because international rules-based order, and the police will do nothing about any of it, not even the ones that they know about and are talking about in the public space. Guys, anytime how does the phrase go? Whenever a ruling government refuses to prosecute its own, you no longer have democracy, you have open tyranny. And that is literally where we are at here in Canada. They will not prosecute one side or the other because they're literally all in on it. And the rest of the world is watching this facade, this window dressing called Canada, being torn apart, and looking at the 10 different bodies of governance underneath of it. There's a lot going on with all of this, and these are some of the things that are going through the discussions and the panels of the grassroots freedom movement and others around the world that are talking about Canada and noticing, addressing, or offering to aid and assist. Um, so before I get to the best part, the climax for everybody, I just want to remind everybody everything that we covered here in this show tonight will be on the Substack tomorrow. It's free to subscribe over there. There is the option to pay. I think there's about a dozen people there that have subscribed. Guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing that. I think it's why $8-10 a month, something like that. Voluntary, always will be voluntary. And I hope that we provide enough value in this platform and all of the work that goes into it to have earned your subscription and buy us a coffee or choose a paid subscription. And if you want to, to be extra helpful and help us, be more committed on looking forward, donations are greatly appreciated and needed in order to keep this all free for everybody else out there. So that was my public pitch for help. Trying to find ways to make this a little bit normal for everybody. I don't want to charge people for what I do. I hope I do, if I have to do better, do more. That's what I will hopefully endeavor to do until, yeah, until we grow up into a big boy media platform. All right, guys, we're going to switch to the last little fun-filled, uplifting, and I hope inspiring story of the day. The Edmonton Oilers are on the verge of potentially doing something that hasn't been done in like 89 years. You know, I was talking about this last night with a friend that something that I've never talked about. We don't cover is sports, but today I'm going to say let's go Oilers, and I'm going to give you guys all a little bit of something here before you guys head out with plenty of time to sit down, I hope, and drink in what's going on with these Edmonton Oilers and the support that's coming in. Because this, when Trudeau says that Canada has no core identity, look in those grandstands, look in the streets of Edmonton, and tell me that we are not capable of coming together for something better, something more, something we all believe in. And those Edmonton Oilers have given us a great reminder on how to believe in ourselves, and you can overcome anything. So for anybody that doesn't believe that Canadians have a core identity, let them watch this. All right, guys.
The Oilers on the verge of being swept, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl talked after the game about mistakes that the Oilers made.
No, that isn't it. Where did it go? Where did it go? That isn't the one. Oh, hang on. And of course, I don't have my mouse, so I'm scrambling here to try and figure out what I did wrong. Bear with me. I will find it because it was just too all right.
Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl talked after the game about mistakes that the Oilers made, especially in that second period, that Florida was really able to capitalize on and take the momentum in it.
It was stunning to hear it go to stunned silence in a 6-minute span when the Panthers scored 3 unanswers to win the game and maybe win the series. It was like this trio hat trick of nightmares. What happened?
It's a steep hill right now, obviously, but no choice but to take it one game at a time.
Florida Panthers lead the best of 7 series, 3 games to none. Here we go, boys. Big start here. Push it from the get-go. 4 is underway. Go.
He's clear for the right hand side and now 2-on-1 short end. Good.
Living the dream, sharp dress, combat boots and a fur vest. Top down, sunset, next level, not stress. When we were young, we couldn't rest. Gotta break the game to be the president. So here's to the freedom we know. Better hope we're ready to go. We coming for ya. We coming for ya. And everybody's gonna know. getting rings. Drinks to the sky for the new king. More gold, more swing. Tiger strong, laser beam. Triple threat, the real thing. From Malibu right to the West Wing. So here's to the freedom we know. Better hope we're ready to go. We're coming for ya. We're coming for ya. And everybody's gonna know. We're coming for ya. We're coming for ya. And everybody's gonna know. So here's to the freedom we know. Better hope that you're ready to go. We're coming for ya. We're coming for ya. And everybody's gonna know. We're coming for ya. We're coming for ya. And everybody's gonna know.
291. They were 0-3, and they will Monday night play a one-game showdown for all the marbles and the Stanley Cup.
We're coming for ya.
All right, guys. I just wanted to, leave everybody on that note. And, so here's the challenge for me. I grew up as a kid, wanting to be Wayne Gretzky. Played hockey, like probably most other, young boys did until you either got busted out, flunked out, or whatever. I blew my knee out. It was kind of it for me, but it was part of my childhood growing up. In the Oilers in the 80s, they brought our communities together, and they're doing it again now. So as much as I'm against and understand the bread and circus of it all, I do hope everybody enjoys and remembers, something more out of it. It's take it for what it is. Enjoy the people, because it's the people, exhibiting passion and faith and belief into something that they're not getting in trouble for doing. And the more we can remember that and bring that humanity and empathy and community back to everything that we are doing, and remembering what it's like to be Canadian, I think that's among some of the best things that we can do to help our communities moving forward. So on that note, I'm gonna let everybody out here a little bit early tonight. I love you all. Stay strong, stay mighty, my fellow patriots and fellow hostages. And 6 p.m. Central tomorrow. Yeah, the good old hockey game. I should have pulled that one up, right? Awesome. Oh, the good old hockey game. Here. I watch Retro Oilers Cup wins all day long. We need a certain amount of distraction and joy and community, wherever that comes from. And in Canada, what else we got? 9 months of winter and 3 months of poor sledding. So hockey is kind of just natural to our character, and these boys are showing the world what character and heart is all about, and a refresher on what being Canadian is all about. So I appreciate them for that in the here and now, and I hope maybe tomorrow we can do a shout out. Congratulations on them for shattering 90-year-old records and bringing the Lord Stanley back to Canada. So go on, enjoy, folks. Make the most of it, and we'll see you here at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Bye for now.